You put food in the bowl, your cat comes over and eats it. And you assume, reasonably enough, that you both just had the same experience. You fed them, they got fed, everyone understands what happened here. But your cat processed that moment through a set of instincts so old and so specific that what went on inside their head may be nothing like what you think. Because in their framework, you didn't feed them. Something else happened entirely. And the gap between those two versions is why so many well-loved, well-fed cats end up restless, mouthy, ambushing ankles at 11 at night, while looking, on the surface, completely fine. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood cat guy. Today we're getting into what your cat actually thinks is happening at mealtime. The ancient deal still running in their head after 10,000 years, why the always full bowl can quietly work against a cat you're only trying to be generous with, and a 5-minute fix that changes the entire thing without costing you a penny. Because here's the truth underneath all of it. Your cat is experiencing your home very differently to how you are, and almost nobody ever hands you the translation. That's exactly why I wrote the Happy Cat Manual. Everything I've learned about reading cats, all in one place, over at leobennettsecrets.com. Go take a look if you want more happy years with your cat. That's all. Now let's start with the deal that's still running your cat's brain. Cats showed up in our world about 10,000 years ago. But here's the part people get wrong. They didn't come because we invited them. When early humans began farming in the Fertile Crescent and storing grain, those stores attracted rodents. And the rodents attracted wild cats. According to research published in PNAS, cats entered what scientists call a commensal relationship with humans, meaning both sides benefited, without either one being in charge. Sit with that for a second. Neither side in charge. The cats got easy prey near the grain. We got free pest control. It was, essentially, a business arrangement between equals. Now compare that to dogs. Dogs went through thousands of years of selective breeding, where humans decided which dogs got to reproduce based on traits like obedience, loyalty, and working ability. Cats went through almost none of that. And as a 2017 study by Ottoni and colleagues confirmed, the domestic cat's genome has changed remarkably little since those first wild cats wandered into human settlements. So the brain your cat is using tonight is running on many of the same instincts as those early farm cats, which matters enormously at mealtime. Because in wild and feral cat colonies, cats who share a territory sometimes bring prey back to a common area. So here's what your cat most likely thinks you are. Not a provider. Not an owner, a member of their social group, someone who leaves, comes back, and brings food into the shared space. In their framework, that's not, I'm being fed. It's, the territory is productive, the partnership is working. Which is honestly a lovely thing to be, not staff, but a colony member who's good at bringing things home. But it also explains exactly what goes wrong, because a partnership has two halves, and in most modern homes, your cat has quietly been relieved of theirs. Let me tell you about a cat I'll call Mabel, because this became a case study in the behavior forums a few years back. Mabel was about a year old. Her family free-fed her from day one. Bowl of kibble out around the clock, never empty. She was healthy. She was very much loved. She was also increasingly impossible, knocking things off counters deliberately while making eye contact, ambushing ankles, yowling at odd hours for no reason anyone in that house could identify. When a behaviorist suggested adding play sessions before meals and switching to scheduled feeding, the family was skeptical. Understandably, nothing was actually wrong. She had everything. Within 2 weeks, the ankle attacks stopped. The yowling dropped away. Same home, same people, same food. The only thing that changed was that her meals started to feel like something she'd worked for. And that's the heart of this whole video. When food simply appears, no effort, no echo of what came before it in nature, your cat's brain may not register a satisfying event at all. It may register something unfinished. Because the stalking and the chasing and the catching that are supposed to come first never happened. Which brings me to the bowl itself. And this one runs deeper than most people expect. Leaving dry food out all day feels generous. The intention behind it is good. You don't want your cat to ever go hungry. You want food available whenever they need it. I understand it completely, and nobody who does it is being lazy. But cats are wired around a very specific internal cycle. In the wild it runs: stalk, chase, pounce, catch, eat, groom, sleep. Behaviorists call it the predatory sequence, and it's been hardwired into the feline brain for thousands of years. Here's the crucial part. Cats who have never once set foot outdoors still carry that entire sequence in their neurology. And according to International Cat Care, even well-fed cats hunt, because the hunting drive operates independently from hunger. Those are two separate systems. Filling the stomach does nothing for the other one. So when food sits in a bowl all day, the first half of that cycle, the stalk, the chase, the catch, never gets triggered. Ever. And that matters more than most people realize because of what's happening chemically. Play and hunting behavior trigger dopamine release in a cat's brain, the neurotransmitter tied to motivation, anticipation, and reward. That dopamine surge is what makes a cat feel engaged and focused and satisfied. Take it away, and some cats begin developing what behaviorists describe as frustration-related behaviors. Overgrooming, increased aggression, restlessness, excessive vocalization. Sound familiar? That's Mabel's list, more or less exactly. And I want to be careful how I put this, because it isn't that a free-fed cat is a miserable cat. Plenty are perfectly happy. It's that the energy which would have gone into hunting has to go somewhere, and if you haven't given it a job, your cat will find it one. Usually at 11 at night, usually involving your ankles. And there's proper evidence behind this. A review published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery by Dantas, Delgado, Johnson, and Buffington documented multiple cases where introducing food puzzles, toys that make the cat work for their kibble, led to weight loss, reduced aggression toward people and other cats, less anxiety, and in some cases resolved litter box avoidance. Litter box avoidance, fixed by changing how the food was delivered. And these weren't cats with medical problems. They were cats whose daily routine was missing one critical piece. Now, you might assume this is mainly a weight conversation, and yes, that's part of it. Cornell University's College of Veterinary Medicine has identified free feeding as a major contributor to feline obesity, estimating that around 50% of cats seen in veterinary clinics today are overweight or obese. Half. Dr. Caroline McDaniel, a lecturer in clinical sciences at Cornell, has specifically recommended scheduled meals over free access, noting that cat parents should be in control of mealtime. So the weight issue is real. But I'd argue the behavioral side matters even more for your cat's day-to-day life, because it's the part nobody's measuring. A cat who never works for food may show no obvious signs of distress whatsoever, nothing you'd take to a vet. But when behaviorists introduce even small foraging challenges into the routine, many of those same cats show measurable improvements in activity, in calmness, in how they get on with everyone else in the house. Which brings us to the part that actually changes things. And the good news is, it takes about 5 minutes. Give them back the hunt. Veterinary behaviorists now recommend a protocol built around the cat's natural cycle: play, eat, groom, sleep. The whole idea is to put the missing first half of the predatory sequence back in, right before each meal. So you take a wand toy, something with feathers or a small fabric lure on the end, and you move it the way real prey moves. Let it dart across the floor. Let it disappear behind the sofa and pause there. Change the speed. Change the direction. Make it unpredictable, because nothing your cat would ever hunt moves in a straight, obliging line. And the pauses matter as much as the movement. A mouse that knows it's been spotted freezes. So let the toy go still for a few seconds and watch your cat's back end start to wiggle. That wiggle is them loading up for the pounce, and it means you've got them properly. Dragging a toy back and forth at a constant speed is the most common mistake I see, and it's the one that makes people say their cat isn't interested in toys. Then, and this part is genuinely important, let your cat catch it. Ending a play session without a successful catch can actually increase frustration instead of relieving it. Behaviorists at Preventive Vet have pointed out that this is a specific problem with laser pointers, precisely because the cat can never physically grab the light. You've watched this happen. Cat goes wild for 10 minutes, light switches off, cat stands there vibrating with nowhere to put it. If you do use a laser, end the session by landing the dot on a physical toy or a treat. That gives them a tangible catch and closes the loop. Then, straight after the catch, put their food down, on a flat plate at a scheduled time. And look at what just happened in their head. Stalk, chase, catch, eat. in the correct order for the first time. The dopamine from the play flows directly into the satisfaction of the meal. The full sequence runs to completion. And after eating, most cats will groom and then drop into a deep, heavy sleep, which is exactly how the cycle is supposed to end. That's the whole fix. You didn't change the food. You didn't buy anything. You changed the story around it. And to your cat, the story was always the point. Now, International Cat Care recommends short, frequent play sessions rather than long ones, and there's a good reason for that. Brief bursts of intense focus match how cats actually hunt. A wild cat doesn't chase prey for 30 minutes. They make quick, explosive attempts, often just a couple of minutes each. So 5 focused minutes with a wand before breakfast and dinner is genuinely enough. This isn't a big commitment I'm asking you for. For the meals you can't be there for, puzzle feeders do a similar job. They turn a passive bowl into something your cat has to solve. It's not the same as live interactive play. Nothing replaces you moving that toy, but it still activates the problem solving, the effort, and the small reward of getting the food out. And according to that same review in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery, even cats with disabilities, senior cats and kittens, can use puzzle feeders successfully. So don't rule it out because your cat is old or slow. Start easy and let them win. And one more practical detail, because this one is almost too simple. If your cat eats the middle of their food, leaves a ring around the edges, and then stands there acting like the bowl is empty, the bowl itself may be the problem. Cat whiskers are packed with nerve endings. Deep, narrow bowls press against them with every single bite, creating a kind of sensory overload that veterinarians call whisker stress. A 2020 study by Slovak and Foster found that cats generally preferred wider, whisker-friendly dishes. So switch to a flat plate or a wide, shallow dish. It costs you nothing, it takes 1 minute, and I've watched it fix a fussy eater in a single meal. It also pairs perfectly with everything else we've talked about, because that flat plate is exactly what you want waiting at the end of the play sequence. So here's the one thing I want you to carry out of tonight. Your cat has never once thought of you as the person who feeds them. In their head, you're a partner in a productive territory, and the food arriving is proof the partnership works. The problem with the always full bowl was never the food. It's that it quietly removed your cat's half of the deal. So give it back to them. 5 minutes with a wand toy, let them catch it, then the plate goes down. That's it. And if you've been free feeding all this time, don't feel bad about it. You were being generous with an animal that doesn't measure generosity in food. Now you know what they do measure it in. So tell me in the comments, does your cat do the ankle ambush, and what time of night does it happen? I'm Leo Bennett. Thank you for watching to end.